As I looked at this story, I realised that it was our understanding of how light came into our world. Warumachiri Wanganga. In a time long ago, our old people told us this story. Nangirla Ikanga in the Yatanga, how our people lived in this country, in our stories have retained the knowledge of extinct animals. And this is one of those stories. And we think that these giant dogs that once roamed this country were a lot like the thylacines. For years they lived here in this country in peace. And then these, we call them marakuli. There were these marakuli. Can you say marakuli? Marakuli were roaming this country. And they were vicious animals, dog-like creatures, vicious animals. And then one day they took a life, the life of a child. And then, so our Urus were very afraid. And so they called for someone to come and help them to deal with these marakuli. First there was the upana, the white marakuli. Then there was the black and white marakuli, and the red marakuli, yelvachina, and then the black marakuli. And one by one, they called for Aljanada. Can you say Aljanada? The barking lizard, to come and help them, because they thought that they needed someone to come and help deal with the situation of the fear that they were feeling from these marakuli. So Aljanada, the barking lizard, came, and he sent for, Aljanada the barking lizard sent for Adnu. Can you say Adnu? The bearded dragon, to come and help deal with these marakuli. So Adnu came, and first of all he punished the white marakuli, upana. Then he punished the black and white marakuli, and then he punished the red marakuli, and then he punished the black marakuli. When he punished the black marakuli, the sun went out, and so the people were in darkness and were very much afraid. In this story we've got two creation stories, very much like the Genesis. And so the sun went out, and so the people were in darkness and are very much afraid. So Aljanada, can you say Aljanada? The barking lizard said to Adnu, the bearded dragon, take your wadna, which meant boomerang, and throw it to make the sun come up, because the people are in darkness and are very much afraid. So Aljanada, the barking lizard, said to Adnu, the bearded dragon, throw your wadna to the north. Now where's north from here? That way? Yeah, that's north. Throw your wadna to the north to try and make the sun come up, because the people are in darkness and are very much afraid. So Adnu, the bearded dragon, threw his wadna to the north to try and make the sun come up. Well, nothing happened. The sun didn't come up when he threw his wadna to the north. So Aljanada, the barking lizard, said to Adnu, the bearded dragon, take your wadna and throw it to the south to try and make the sun come up, because the people are in darkness and are very much afraid. So he took his wadna and he threw it to the south. Nothing happened. The sun didn't come up. So Aljanada, the barking lizard, said to Adnu, take your and throw it to the to try and make the, because the people are in darkness and are very much afraid. So he took his wadna and he threw it to the, and what do you think happened? Nothing happened. Why? Why wouldn't the sun come up in the west? Because it goes down in the west, doesn't it? That's where what happens, because it wouldn't come up in the west, because it goes down in the west. So the bar said to Adnu, take your and throw it to try and make for the people are in darkness and are very much afraid. So he took his wadna and he threw it to the east, and what might have happened? The sun came up. That's right. And that little story, I always tell that story. Firstly, because it's a story for us about direction. And, you know, you've got to know your directions. If you don't know your directions, you're going to get lost. So, you know, it's a story about direction, but it's not only about geographical location and direction, but it's also about direction in life. We need to know where we're going. And I tell this story to kids as well, because, you know, seeking direction for their futures, it's always, you know, to encourage children to get a good education, because that's going to help set them in the right direction for life. And so for us, it's very important. The other thing that I teach that little story, tell the story to groups of people, is because there's one thing that we know that will never change. Never change, or we hope it never changes. If it does change, we won't be here. There's one thing in life throughout every generation in humanity that will never change, and that is that the sun will come up in the same direction, give or take half an hour. Daylight saving depends on where you are, but the sun will come up. And we can depend on that. It's something that will never change. It's one of the absolutes that will never ever change in life. And so when I talk to groups of people, that's the one thing that I say. Just as in the scriptures, in the Bible, Jesus says, I am the light of the world. And the way in which the sun comes up every morning, and we can depend on that. We can depend on Jesus. The one absolute that will never change. Jesus Christ, the same yesterday, today, and forever. And so, you know, as we stand here, and I encourage you now to, you know, just fan out a little bit. Find your own space and watch the sun come up. And watch for those first rays of light as they flood across the land. Think about what it might have meant, what it would have meant when my people lived in this country, and listen to that story. And as when after living in years of fear and in living in years of darkness, what it means for us to see the first rays of sunlight come into our country. So just take a moment for yourselves, just to fan out and find a space and just enjoy this moment as we see the sun come up. Unde karana adla ngapla yatu yananga. Unde karana adla ngapla yatu yananga. The light of Christ. The light of Christ has come into the world. The light of Christ has come into the world. Unde karana adla ngapala yata yananga.